Are you struggling in interpersonal skill? Relating to others is a domain that many IMGs struggle. My name is Dr. Erwin Kwun. I've hundreds of GP trainees pass SCA with confidence. I'm the author of Consultation Blueprint. In this video, I'm going to show you common mistakes to avoid and how to boost your score in relating to others. The first common mistake that trainees make is poor listening.
One thing I had to learn is to, first of all, actively listen, but that's one thing I don't do. So I found that when you actively listen, you might even get maybe your ideas and your concerns from it or part of it.
To make sure that you actively listen to the patient, it's important that you practice it in your clinic. When you're consulting, try and think about what exact words the patient used in the first line when they spoke to you, and try and write it down at the end of your consultation. If you do that, then you're going to have to pay more attention, because you know at the end of the consultation, you're going to write down the line the patient said. By doing that, you're training your brain to be more attentive. When it comes to cues, it's important that you understand what cues patient might drop. For example, patient might tell you, "Well, doctor, I hope I'm not wasting your time. My wife asked me to book this appointment." So by saying that, the patient's already dropped a cue that you can infer from that the patient's wife might be worried. Explore wife ideas, concern, expectation, as well as that of the patient. Sometimes patient might have cues that are non-verbal. So it could be the facial expression. They may be more hesitant when they're talking about something. So if you pick up on these cues, it's important that you're more curious and ask more. So you might have a patient who tells you, "I read this thing online and I was going to ask you about this because I wanted to know more about it." So you might want to ask the patient, "Could I check what is it that you read?" So then you can understand more about what they read, and because that could be why they might have these thoughts about this.
Something we call formulaic eyes. It's just in your head. You just want to ask that patient about their ideas, their concerns, their expectation.
If you're asking the ideas, concern, expectation in that manner, then you're not going to show good interpersonal skills. So a good way of exploring the patient's health agenda is uncovering it naturally. So it's important that you have a discussion, as in a dialogue with a patient, as opposed to an interrogation where you're just asking the next question.
I realized that my time management was better and my eyes wasn't sounding that formulaic. And because you give very practical feedback, took all this feedback and I can see the result.
I'm running a free live masterclass on Saturday, 15th of November at 10 o'clock, where I'm going to teach you all about the consultation. And you're going to get extra bonuses just by registering. I'll leave a link down. If you ask a patient, "Was there anything you were worried about?" Then the patient tells you, "I'm worried about this lump, that it could be breast cancer." If you ask the next question, "Anything else you're worried?" It doesn't show good interpersonal skill, because you have not picked up on that cue that the patient mentioned, and this is quite obvious that they're worried about the lump. So good way of responding to that is to ask a follow-up question based on the answer that you were given. So that's why it's so important to actively listen as opposed to go to the next question. So if then you say to the patient, "Sounds like this lump has worried you. So can you tell me how did you first notice this?" See, like you're asking a follow-up question based on the cue rather than asking a question that you've already planned based on your checklist. Making sure that you're uncovering the idea, concern, expectation naturally is really important. So don't ask these questions out of context or just have a rigid way of consulting. You have to let the consultation flow, and if the patient has dropped a cue, then be curious and ask the follow-up question. Another mistake is not exploring the patient's psychosocial situation and occupation. In the SE exam, there is a lot of things that could be affecting a patient's management. For example, if you got a patient who is planning to go abroad this afternoon, and you want the patient to have some investigation and a referral, the patient is not going to agree with that if you don't really take that into account. So it's important that you Adjust your management plan based on the patient's circumstance. And it's usually a unique circumstance for each patient. Look at what's the patient's preferences. For example, if you got a patient with weight loss, and you're worried about cancer and you would like to refer the patient under a 2-week wait, but the patient has got a holiday plan for their 25th anniversary, it's going to be difficult to change their plan. And this is where negotiation is important. So listening actively to the patient, showing that you understand their situation, and explaining the dilemma that you've got is really key, so that then you can offer an alternative option, as in how you can help this patient, and explain about the consequences as well if they don't attend an appointment and have investigation. This could delay their treatment. So taking into account the patient's circumstance is critical. How did it feel when you got the results?
Yeah, it was surreal. Like, because before I checked the before I checked the result out, I was feeling like, because I couldn't check it. I was calling everyone. How was it? This one said it failed. This one said it passed. Most people failed. Most people I called failed. So I was like, I don't think I will pass. I think I'll fail. Let me just check it. So I checked and I passed, and it was the best feeling in the world. Trust me, because yeah, it was the best feeling because I was I know that I tried my best. I joined your course, which is a big leap for me, and I tried my best to take on all the feedbacks, try to work on them. I know I did what I can, but I know that it can still go sideways sometimes, especially because one thing I realized that everything you've been doing, how you've been practicing, everything, it comes down to that day of the exam, how you now approach the exam. So I know that sometimes some people might be unlucky, and even with all the practice, on that day you're just too anxious or you're stressed and your head was just all over the place. So I know something can go wrong. But at the end of the day, if you've practiced very well, I think it increases your chances of passing, because you just remind yourself that you've got what it takes. And if you follow your just everything you've learned, everything, all your skills you've actually acquired, and you should be able to like. So that day, I just told myself that you just follow your basics, follow everything you've learned, and that's what I did. And so I passed, and I was happy I passed. But I know that if I didn't join your course, I'm not saying this because I'm talking to you, but remember when I joined your course, I said just I want to increase my chances of passing when I spoke to you before I joined your course. And even from my score shows that if I didn't join your course, maybe I would have been some marks short as well. So yeah, I know I need more support. So it's clear that if you really helped, and you gave me that push to go over to pass the exam.
If you found this video useful, don't forget to sign up to Consultation Blueprint Live, where I'm going to show you the exact blueprint that hundreds of GP trainees have used to pass SCA with confidence. I'll leave a link down in the description, and I hope to see you there.